What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the August 29th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Tonight's Monday Night Raw was a very fun show. It was fun. It was entertaining. There were moments where it was like, okay, it's cool, but like, there's not a lot of reaction from the crowd and just that whole thing. But overall, this was a fun show. Started off kind of like chug-a-lug, 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 kind of like a locomotive train where it's slow and then picked up. But man, this was a pretty good, you could say, go home show for Raw going into Clash at the Castle this Saturday at noon. Is it noon Central Time? Yeah, noon Central Time. I was gonna say Eastern Time. No, it's noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm looking forward to it. But man, tonight's Raw, there were some things. I could tell you this. There were many things that made you very intrigued on what's going to happen next week. Very few little things, but overall, this was a very fun show. I don't want to rank as far as is this the best or worst of Triple H's time as head of creative, but no, this was a pretty fun show. Like I said, overall, as it continued throughout the night, it just started picking up and just stories and stuff. Just, oh man, really good stuff. But before I break down this whole episode of Monday Night Raw, I'm gonna go through the results. We started off with Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeating AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler. The second match, you had Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. They defeated three, I believe they were local independent wrestlers. They defeated them. Pretty much it was a squash match. Then we had the Street Profits defeat Alpha Academy with Kurt Angle at ringside. We had Bobby Lashley defeat The Miz. We had Kevin Owens defeat Jay Uso. And in the main event for the finals for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament, you had Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah defeat Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So that is the results for WWE Monday Night Raw of episode for August 29th, 2022. So I'm going to go into the first match. And the way the show started off, there was a lot of anticipation. There was a lot of speculation and I kind of thought it was going to happen, and I was wrong. There was speculation that, they're thinking about WWE's thinking about bringing back Braun Strowman. Then there was, oh my God, I'm forgetting someone else. The Sasha Banks, Naomi news. Man, I am forgetting someone else that there was news reported about them coming back. And damn it, I can't remember right now. And I'm going to remember when I finish recording this review. So we started off with AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler. Like right away, it went right to the match. So we had AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They did show a recap of Judgment Day last week with the whole Edge, Beth Phoenix thing, which I thought was kind of weird. It like them showing this after AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler made their entrance. It was something that like we were seeing when Vince and was in charge of creative. Like, all right, but yeah, this match when it started, like I said, the crowd was quiet. I did have a few people who were there. They were like, "What are you talking about?" It wasn't quiet. It was loud. Let me know what you guys think. For me, it did come across like it was quiet for most of the night for a few spots. Of course, the Kevin Owens and just the major spots and stuff like that, they came alive. But for the most part, it was just a very, I wouldn't say it was quiet, but it was a very mellow crowd where they really got into it when things picked up. But for the most part, they were just a very quiet, mellow crowd. There was during the Styles, Ziggler, Balor Priest match, the interaction between Damian Priest and AJ Styles, a few clunky spots that was like, okay, all right. It is what it is. In the end, Priest did it's a choke slam, but it's like a jumping choke slam splash type move. I don't know what the move is. Comment below, guys, what that move is that Damian Priest does now. It's his finisher where he has him in the choke slam, and it's almost like a choke. I don't want to say splash, but like a choke fall away, like a choke slam, fall away slam type hybrid move or something like that. I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, that match, it was okay, but like it was just something was not connecting. Like it just didn't like it was fluid, but it just wasn't like, all right, it's cool, but like, it is what it is. Then we had post match. You had a vehicle backstage. Edge comes out. He's coming to the ring. Judgment Day's calling him out. They're doing this whole thing. Rhea Ripley's calling out Edge. He comes out. He tells them, I didn't come alone. Rey Mysterio, Dominic, they attack Judgment Day. And then there comes a point where Dominic and Rhea Ripley have a face-off. And he has a Kindle stick, and she's just telling him, no, don't, just give it to me, give me this stick. I don't know, man. This whole interaction between Rhea Ripley and Dominic feels like it's leading to, of course, this Saturday, it's going to be Edge, Dominic, and Rey Mysterio versus Judgment Day. But it does feel like we might get Dominic joining Judgment Day. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put Dominic and Rhea Ripley together on screen. Because there's like this weird chemistry. And of course, later on in the night, you had this interaction between Rey Mysterio and Dominic, and Mi Familia. The way his character is, like, I don't know. I could see them putting Dominic with Judgment Day at Clash of the Castle, especially after this interaction. It's just like, why would you give her the Kindle stick and Edge and Rey Mysterio come and she leaves, and it's just like really interesting. I like Rhea Ripley the way she's being presented. She's kind of the leader, de facto leader of Judgment Day, which is cool. She is totally different from all the women on the roster. I hope eventually they put her back in the title scene because, like, she is different from the rest and she is elevated than the rest. Like, she stands out very well. From there, we get a recap of the whole Dexter Lumis Miz abduction, which commentary called it. Then we get a backstage segment with the Miz and Ciampa. They're discussing Dexter Lumis. Miz is paranoid. I like this whole storyline with the Miz and Dexter Lumis, especially the way the Miz tonight, the way the Miz was acting throughout the night leading up to his match. Totally different Miz than what we've been accustomed to the last few years. This Miz just feels more reality based, and the way everything played out tonight was pretty cool. So this segment, the Miz sold his paranoia. Like, he's just, hey, Dexter Lumis just abducted me out of nowhere. I don't know where he's at. What's going on here? Then we get another backstage segment with Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah. They're just hyping up their tag team match. Then we get Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus 3, you could say local wrestlers or indie wrestlers or whatever the term is. It was basically a squash match. And Asuka wound up tapping out one of the wrestlers. One of the wrestlers was Kayla Sparks. She's a very well-known independent wrestler. Shout out to her. That was really cool to see her on Monday Night Raw. Then we get another backstage segment with The Miz and Ciampa and Adam Pearce. And Pearce is just showing concern. He sold it. Like, this was so out of the blue, especially how Adam Pearce has been presented on WWE television. Like, he's showing concern for The Miz, who's been a jackass for, like, the last few years. Just very condescending and entitled. And Adam Pearce is just showing, like, hey, what's wrong? Or you need someone to talk to and, counseling. And The Miz is like, I don't want to talk about it. And Pearce refers the message to The Miz that, hey, Dexter Lumis got released because you didn't press any charges or anything like that. So this whole thing with Dexter Lumis, I'm so happy that he's doing this, because when he was in NXT with the way and everything, I'm like, man, if they could just put this guy on Raw or SmackDown, like, this dude has great storytelling to his name, where it's just like you could tell these cool stories throughout the week, and just, oh my god, it's so good to see him here, and just seeing this play out, I'm like, oh man, this is so cool. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE, Dexter Lumis. Then we get Kurt Angle comes out. He's a hometown guy. It's in Pittsburgh. He gets a loud ovation. You get the loud "you suck" chants. Alpha Academy comes out. Chad Gable mentions that Kurt Angle was a very big inspiration to him. Alpha Academy is looking for a new member, and they offer it to Kurt Angle, which is interrupted by the Street Profits, which leads to a match between the Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. And I gotta say, this match, man, if it wasn't for the KO Jay Uso match, this match was, at this point, the match of the night. This was a solid match by the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. There was a point in the match where Otis, he caught Montez Ford and then did a splash. Like, he caught him without struggling. He just boop, boom, like an action figure. Like, that was so cool. Then there was a sequence I recommend you guys check out this match and check out the sequence of moves between Angelo Dawkins and Chad Gable. It was nothing. It was mostly counters and just a little bit of mat wrestling on Chad Gable's end. But man, this was so beautiful, so cool. Like I said, the only weird thing about it was, the crowd was just mellow and quiet. Like, what you can't say they weren't into it. It was just, they were mellow and quiet. Like, just, all right, it's happening. Like, that's how it was. And it wasn't a bad thing. It's just how it came across on TV. Then you had another point in the match, and this was a crazy spot. And man, so Angelo Dawkins, he leading up to him going outside and pretty much like he shoulder blocked Otis across the announce table while he was like telling Kurt Angle, you're gonna join Alpha Academy. It wasn't a shoulder block, it was a pounce. I stand corrected. It was similar to how Keith Lee pounced Adam Cole into the crowd in NXT. Like, that's how it was. It was like, damn. And Otis is a big dude. And Angelo Dawkins, like, he hit him with some force that rocked him over the announce table. Watch it. Check it out. Very impressive by Angelo Dawkins. In the end, Montez Ford does his Fog Splash. Alpha Academy wins. 1, 2, 3. Then afterwards, they have drinks. They give a drink to Kurt Angle. He spits it out. Grabs a cup of milk. They drink milk. That was cool. I liked it. Then they show a few Pittsburgh Steelers at ringside. They had a really good, nice ovation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then we get video footage of Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle fighting in a parking lot. There were no cameras or anything. This was kind of fan footage. We don't know. But it was real interesting because I remember seeing this earlier in the day and it was like, oh, there's no cameras there. This is pretty interesting. Like, okay, this is nice, planting the seeds for the storytelling. So later on the show, we could see this. Like, I like this. So they have, because they were fighting before the show and in the parking lot, they're in separate rooms. And Corey Graves is, for some reason, he's backstage giving the interview in the interview area, but they're in separate rooms. I thought that was kind of like, all right, but would have been better if you just leave him on commentary and he interviews him. So they're going back and forth, and Riddle says the line before they finish this interview. Seth, there's only one man in your marriage, and that's Becky. It's like, ooh, like when that, like, oh. But then they came back and they showed footage when the camera stopped rolling and Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle's going back and forth. Also, quick shout out, Matt Riddle has his full name back. So you got Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. They're going back and forth, and Seth Rollins, he's like, yeah, you there, Riddle? You there, Riddle? And he tells him, you don't have a family because your wife divorced you and took the kids, and I'm gonna beat you. I know they used some expletives, some strong expletives that they bleeped out. He called him a B, and oh my God, you can tell this segment was not scripted. I enjoyed it. This was a different Riddle than what we've experienced him in my take. For as long as I've seen Riddle, this is a different Riddle than what we've seen. I'm looking forward to that match with Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins at Clash at the Castle. That match, I will say, might possibly be the match of the night, considering how this promo went down and knowing how Seth Rollins is, as far as he does like to steal the show. And I think that match is going to be good. But man, this promo and them recapping, oh man. Whew. You can find it on social media because everyone was, whether it was Twitter, they were tweeting it. If it was Instagram and they were sharing it in their Instagram stories, it was Facebook, they were sharing it. People were talking about it because that was some good stuff, man. Very good stuff. And what I liked about this promo, like, this is a creative way of how you use colorful language. I'll leave it at that. Not saying it's the best way, but this was a very creative way to use colorful language, which I would not be surprised if other promotions like notices, like, ooh, that's pretty cool. We can go that route. So I liked it. Very creative. Enjoyed it. Then we get Bobby Lashley versus The Miz. This whole match was like a squash. Bobby Lashley was just beating the hell out of The Miz. Lashley was dominating. Then there comes a point where Ciampa blocks Lashley from ramming Miz's shoulder into the ring post. Then, certain point in the match, The Miz has gotten the upper hand because Ciampa hit Lashley's legs. And as Miz is about to get some more momentum, the crowd looks up, and in the stands, you see Dexter Lumis. He's distracted. The Miz, which results into the Miz getting into the Hurt Lock. 1-2, he taps out. Lashley wins. You don't know where Dexter Lumis is at. Like I said before, I love this freaking I love this because it's so cool, it's so fun, and I am so glad that Dexter Lumis is on the main roster and they're telling the type of stories that he has done in NXT because those were so creative and so cool and different, like different from anything we've seen in the wrestling industry. And I love that because it's so different and unique. And it's like, ooh, man, this is good. Then we get a backstage segment with Kurt Angle and Edge, and they basically recreate the segment on SmackDown where Edge had the cards of "you stuck," you suck, and everything refers to I beat you for the tag titles, I beat you for the United States titles, I shaved your head, I started the "you suck" chant, and you still suck, and mind you, that's where after this, Rey Mysterio and Dominic were in the corner. Kurt Angle walks up to him and he's like, "Hey, this guy's a really cool." Turns around, he's like, "What? Edge got me again." Like that was pretty cool. I liked it. That was fun. And like I said before, after this, Dominic and Rey spoke, and the way Dominic was in this segment and his mannerisms, is like, Dominic's going to turn on his dad and Edge. Like, he is going to join Judgment Day. And he's going to join Rhea Ripley. It's like, it is already there. Like, they're telling it before it happens. Then we get the Usos and Sami Zayn. They come out. Usos announce that there's going to be a SmackDown celebration for the Tribal Chief this Friday. Sami Zayn cuts off the Usos. KO comes out. And I like this because he's telling them Roman still owes me one. Is that your boy to Jay Uso? Then KO still talking to Sami. Sami tells KO Roman doesn't owe you anything. Then KO, and I love this story tactic because it's planting the seeds for Sami Zayn to eventually think and hesitate, which in the long run is going to result in Solo Sikoa from NXT, which is the Usos' younger brother, joining the bloodline. So it's like planting the seeds for something that's going to eventually happen where you're going to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn become a tag team again and wrestle the Usos and eventually hopefully win those WWE tag team titles, which I'm all for. That's dope. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Kevin Owens reminds Sami Zayn, like, hey, you're one of the best in-ring performers in the world. He said, look in the mirror and reassess things, which I thought was really cool. And Kevin Owens looks at Jay Uso. He's like, you know what? For 2.5 years, you've had your head up your cousin's ass. It's like, ooh, that's good. That is so good because it's a callback to, if you remember when Roman Reigns first turned heel, he was feuding with Jay Uso, and Jay Uso was kind of in an alliance with Kevin Owens, which he eventually turned on Kevin Owens and joined his cousin. So it's that history. It's like, ooh, man, this is good. Then we get the match between Kevin Owens and Jay Uso. Man, this was a solid match. This was a fun match. There was a lot of super kicks. There was a point where Jimmy distracted Kevin Owens, which resulted in Jay Uso performing the Samoan drop on stairs outside the ring. Excuse me, guys. I got something in my eye. All right, there we go. There was a point where Kevin Owens did the Swanton Bomb, which, man, when he does that, man, that's a lot of force, man. That's a lot of man landing on a guy just laying there in the mat. Like, man, that's got to hurt. Then we had the Kevin Owens provoking Sami Zayn to hit him. Sami didn't do it. Then Sami Zayn has a steel chair. There's another part of the match where Sami Zayn has a steel chair. and Jimmy and Jay Uso are telling him to hit him, hit him, hit him, and he's hesitating. It's like, oh shit. Like they're planting the seeds for the Usos to eventually kick him out or have Solo Sikoa beat him up and kick him out, which will lead to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn becoming a tag team, therefore having Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenge the Usos for the tag team titles, which is really cool right now in professional wrestling, especially in WWE. That would be really cool. In the end, that resulted in Kevin Owens giving a stunner. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens beats Jay Uso. So that was a fun match. Loved it. Then we get a backstage segment with Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bayley. They're hyping up their match. Then we get The Miz running out of the arena with Ciampa. He's running to his car. Ciampa's like, hey, are you okay? Like, hey, you want me to go with you? He's like, no, I'm good. Then you have one of the interviewers come to the Miz like, hey, are you okay? What happened? Did you see Loomis? He's like, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. So he gets in his SUV. He turns on the car, and all the way in the back rear, you see this light flash, and it's Dexter Loomis in the back of the vehicle. And the Miz just drives off, and it's like, Dexter Loomis was one of, if not one, he was one of my favorite wrestlers in NXT because of the way his character was. It was so different, unique, and just the way they told stories surrounding his character. It was like a freaking murder mystery almost. Where it's like a mystery where it's like, man, is he here? Like, it's so good. The mystery aspect of Dexter Loomis, that everything that happens, it's, like I said, it's like a murder mystery show. The way they do his segments, we were just like, man, what happened next? Like, what? Oh, man, what's happened? Like, oh, man, I love this, man. I love it. I can't wait to see what happens next week on Raw. Then we get recap of Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory, which, another shout out, Austin Theory got his name back. So all these wrestlers who had one name, they're getting their name back. Hopefully Ciampa gets Tommaso Ciampa back, which that would be cool. And he's basically calling out Gargano like, you didn't congratulate me when you were gone. You're jealous. And he walks away. Before he walks away, he tells Gargano, he looks at him, he's like, you're in the land of sharks. Like, this isn't NXT. And Gargano just looks and he's like, okay. So that's another cool aspect. Now, there is a scenario that a lot of people are talking about on Twitter regarding Gargano, Theory, Dexter Loomis, and Ciampa. And the theory is, or the scenario is, that Gargano is the one that's sending Loomis to attack Miz, so that way him and Ciampa can reunite as a tag team. That's crazy, and if that's one of the things that happens, oh man, that's some really good storytelling, and I'm all for that. Then we get the main event. We got Dakota Kai, Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah for the Women's Tag Team Championship final. This was a very interesting main event. It was a back and forth match. Of course, Bayley interfered. Then you had Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka run off Bayley. And the ending was weird because the camera was focusing on Io Sky and Raquel Rodriguez, but Aaliyah was the legal tag team partner, and she pinned Dakota Kai, and the camera goes and like the way it was just very clunky. They finished. You had the women, Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa. They're clapping their hands. You had Bayley and Dakota in the back, and it almost seemed like, because of, if you go back and watch it, and you could see that there was like a little bit more time, like maybe 3 minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes left of the show. And for me, I'm watching, I'm like, oh crap, like, are they going to have Sasha Banks and Naomi just walk out and just look and stare? And then I'm like, maybe not. And they didn't come out. So I do anticipate Sasha Banks and Naomi will be there next Monday. One of the reasons I believe that is it's the Monday after AEW's All Out. So you kind of cut off the talk and the everything that's surrounding All Out. You kind of die it down as AEW goes to heads into Wednesday. You get a lot of talk surrounding about Raw and Sasha Banks and Naomi, with a lot of people just anticipating it. So I could see that happening. But overall, this was a very interesting, intriguing, a lot of storylines that left you intriguing. I am very intrigued and interested to see where this goes. Fun show. Few things could have been, the crowd, like I said, in Pittsburgh, it was a very quiet and mellow crowd. When the spots happened that, the moments in the match where it's like, oh man, it got really intense. They really got into it. But for the most part, they were just that was really weird. So it was a very interesting Monday Night Raw, but I'm looking forward to Clash at the Castle, Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. I'm looking forward to that. After this promo that they cut, and then the footage after the interview that they did, like, I'm sold for that match. I want to see it. Again, it does, if you're in the Midwest, it will be airing noon this Saturday on Peacock Network. So I'm looking forward to seeing that match. But that is my review for the August 29th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, where I pretty much live tweet through every show, and follow me on Instagram, where I'm pretty dope. I just post a lot of random stuff. But also follow House of Wrestling on Instagram, because we have a lot of stuff from around the world in professional wrestling that we share on our Instagram, and it's a who's who, and oh my god, there's a lot of stuff happening in wrestling, so check it out. And with that, like I always say, enjoy professional wrestling. We got a lot of stuff happening this weekend. I am enjoying it. Christmas came early for me. So with that,